triggering us. So you got to look at what is that? What part of me is being triggered? There has to be something there, like I said, for there to be a reaction. Oh, Joey's saying I keep breaking up. I don't know if my internet's down. Well, hopefully it's coming back and forth. It says I have full internet. I'm going to keep going. Hopefully you guys can hear me. But we, as a species, as an animal, are looking for safety and security. For thousands of years, the name of the game for us as a species was survive the night. We're a very weak animal compared to other animals. We don't have armor or horns that are weapons. We don't have claws. We can't spit poison. We can't see infrared. We have all these disadvantages. So it was a scary place for us. We also didn't know where our next meal was going to come from. This all affected our coding. And humans have existed for hundreds of thousands of years. We've only been, our modern world, civilizations have only been here for 10,000 years. It's like 1% of our existence of a species. We've been being coded that whole time. It's not just the time we live in now isn't who we are. We are our ancestral past. We are that DNA coding. So the name of the game was survive the night. Am I going to eat? Am I going to survive? Am I going to get killed? That's a scarcity mindset. So we're programmed with scarcity mindset. The world is a dangerous place. So I need to find things that make me feel safer, to make me feel more secure, which is bonding with the tribe, which is following the story of my tribe, do these things. You know, even how do I look? Like my body weight is even a factor in our modern society. It gets interpreted, oh, this is how you should look. If you look like this, it means a certain thing. If you don't, there's risk of being kicked out. There's body shaming goes on all the time. It's terrible. There's no need for it. All it is people trying to bond in their tribes. So if you understand that you're safe, I'm safe. If you can assess in that moment, is there a real threat to my life? If there isn't, you're safe. And so then you can disarm this messages that your body's interpreting. If you look at the choices you made in your life, the careers, the schooling you went to, the subjects you studied, the friends you have, all those things have been chosen through your filters, which means they've been chosen without free will. And it's weird to think of it like that, because we don't usually think that we're not having free will. But to make a choice from nothing is very, very hard for us humans. And that's what we're going to go into tomorrow. It's about thought and about how it creates our world. So if you can be a blank slate, tabula rasa, and from that you can choose who you want to be. You've got to keep staying above the loop that's your identity, because you, by default, you're going to be pulled back into it. You wake up every morning and by default start performing your loops. I'm not anybody when I'm sleeping, but I become somebody as I go through my day. And I'm so used to it, I think that's who I am. I think I am my identity. But as we mentioned earlier, your identity doesn't exist anywhere. You can't show me your identity. You're actually you're generating your identity through my reaction, through my thought. But thoughts don't exist. But we have this running commentary that's going through our heads constantly. That's reinforcing the belief, our belief in ourselves and of the world. Remember, that's what humans do. They react to these beliefs. So I'm going through my day having this conversation. And this conversation is about past or future events. Thoughts can't be present. Because time is moving so quickly, I can't have a thought. If I have a non-thought, then I'm present. But my thoughts have to be past or future. No matter if they're very, very recent past or very, very recent future, they're still past or future. So I'm taking a time that doesn't exist now, and I'm regurgitating it in my mind, having this conversation, having these thoughts about it. And I'm getting a sensation, a reaction to it. So the process is that it goes through the thoughts, that causes a chemical reaction, and I get my feelings, and that causes my reactions. Those feelings cause my reaction. That's what's happening constantly throughout my day. If we verbalized our inner thoughts, people would think we were crazy. You see people on the street walking around having these conversations, and we go, oh, that person's crazy. But really, we're having the same conversations, we're just not verbalizing them. If you want to have an interesting game, go outside and just speak out loud what you're thinking. Have that argument that you've had with someone in the past, have it verbally, have it out loud, and see how people react to you. We're all doing this. Every human is doing this. We're all running these loops, and we're all reacting to stimuli from the environment. I want to go to questions because there might be a few. Let me see if I get them. It's not working, my little button. I don't know why it's not working today. Come on. Okay. Hi there. Yeah, I do. Oh, why did that happen? Sorry, guys. My camera reversed, I think. There we go. I'm back. Sorry about that. Yes, I do private sessions, by the way, which we can talk about. I do some coaching. But there was a really good question about kind of breaking free from it and seeing it. So that's what I call the shadow work, shining light on what's not tangible, what we can't see, on what we're generating. So we're generating this and we're projecting it. I often go into a little bit deeper than this, which it gets way out into left field, which we're talking to quantum physics, because we know through the study of quantum physics that our thoughts affects things. They actually are tangible in the quantum field. So that's subatomical particle theory. So below atoms are quark, and they have a different application of physics. The same rules of physics don't apply in the subatomical dimension. And thoughts affect things. We are actually projecting our identity out into the quantum field. So it's actually a physical filter around me. And so other people are interacting with my filter, with my identity that I'm projecting. And I think that's just who I am. But really, I do have choice in it, which is not always so easy to break free from that choice, but I do have choice. So it's the shadow work, it's the shining the light on this subconscious part of me. And the way to change this, there's a lot of health optimization or self-help out there that's telling you to do two main things. One, love yourself, and the other one, to fix yourself, to change, which is fine, that's great. Loving yourself, I always wonder, who are you loving? It's this identity, and should you love it? I mean, maybe aspects of it, but maybe not the whole package. Because if you think about who you are, you're actually a different person in different scenarios. I might be someone very different with maybe my family. Maybe they trigger me and I react, and they know me. They only know me when they're there. I might be with a different group of friends where I'm a completely different person, right? Or I'm acting differently. Am I a different person, or am I just projecting a different personality? We want to shine light on this. So really the way that I coach is to transcend this identity. You can then work on it. So if you think of your identity like a clothing, if it has a hole in it, It's hard to sew it up when you're wearing it. You want to take it off, and then you can look at it and go, oh, okay, I can fix it from here. So identity, so you want to transcend identity. You want to transcend this coding that you come with, who you are. I'm reading a question here. How do you personally... so I got a question about how do you personally rest your thoughts. That's the practice of meditation. That's why meditation is so important, because we're just spewing out who we are by default. I'm just being Paul. Unless I become conscious about being Paul. Even when I'm conscious, it's still happening. So then I have to learn how to control that. It's like I gave an example of someone today that it's like my thoughts are like a faucet. Yeah, I'm the faucet with the water coming out, the tap that's running the water. I have to go to the tap to turn it off. People try and combat their thoughts. They try and fight their thoughts, which is a very strange way to think about it, because you're creating your thoughts and then you're trying to combat them. So we actually have to turn them off. So it's the non-thought, the meditation, which we're going to talk about tomorrow, that actually turns those thoughts off. Yeah, so there's a lot more to get into. Like I said, this is a 3-hour lecture. This workshop that I'm doing on the 25th, we're going to go into a lot of this. So you're actually going to it's going to be a workshop on yourself, because this is a very sacred time on earth. I mean, there's a lot of scary stuff going on, and I totally get it. There's a lot of sadness. But there's an opportunity here for us not to just change, but to be better, to level up, to reassess our lives. When we put our identity in its place, we then get to choose who we're being. We get a code of conduct. Much like the knights, they had a code of conduct they followed. All our societies are basically a code of conduct. Our religions are a code of conduct. We get to choose our own code of conduct, which mine personally, which sounds a bit funny when I say it out loud, but it's to need nothing with all my heart. To lead with compassion, but not be attached to anything, not be dependent on anything. Because if I'm dependent on something, it's only because my identity needed it. It needed to be validated through that. So we can come out of this completely different, without our filters, completely free from our past. And if we do it individually, it's going to affect the collective. It's going to affect who we are as a species. This is the first time in the history of our species that we've all been affected by one outside factor, which has made us one tribe. The first time we've been the human tribe. And if we can change ourselves, if we can project better, more positive, different thoughts into the collective, we will shift the collective. This can be a profound moment in the history of our planet, in the history of ourselves, in our lives. So let's do the work now.